And he said, this is an extreme sport. 20 years ago, I mean, I knew, but I didn't know that I'd become this. Finding myself, learning to love myself along the way, from my first competition to my second, when I kept putting everybody else first before myself, that's when I lost myself.
Miss Toni Rose.
Yes.
This has been a long-awaited podcast. I'm so excited that you accepted.
Yes.
People don't realize that I have probably known you for, I think, like 17 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but I remember the day that we first met.
Really?
In fact, I remember what you were wearing when we first met. Yeah.
Okay. I have to hear this.
So the funny thing was, we were at Vasa.
Okay.
And you asked me if I was the owner of Vasa. Do you remember that?
I don't.
No one has ever.
But it sounds like something I would maybe observe.
Right. But it was just so pure and innocent. And it was a great introduction to Toni Rose because you are beautiful inside and out. Absolutely. I want everybody to meet you because it's very rare. I hate to say this. You've been a model for a long time. So it's not like you know that people recognize your outer beauty. But it's incredibly rare to be beautiful inside and out. And I apologize.
No.
But
thank you. That really does mean so much to me. Just you saying that, it touches my heart, and I already am getting emotional. Because 20 years ago, I didn't know. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know that I'd become this. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. It's like you feel that something great is going to come from you, but you don't have the confidence. You don't know who you are. Right. But so this story is just like the cutest thing ever. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Another thing about your outer beauty that I've always been impressed about, and you have competed before, but I think you took quite a bit of time off.
A little bit. Yeah, I took about just 3 years.
3 years off. I've seen, I don't know what it is about our community, but for some reason, we have a lot of pro bodybuilders.
Oh,
even in our gym. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And
that's amazing.
I've watched people go through the process. And for a lot of people, it's very cathartic.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot of ups and downs.
Yes.
And yet, I've always said, I don't know if this is good or bad, so you can smack me if you want to. But
I don't think anything's good or bad.
I always feel like you could step on the stage.
Oh, you're so kind.
You don't really have an off season. I mean, trust me, that was a phenomenal package that you brought to bear. That was phenomenal. Like, you absolutely rocked.
I felt really good about that.
Yeah,
I did.
And so that you're aware. Toni became a professional bodybuilder in Pittsburgh.
Yes, I did.
And so that's a big venue. The East Coast competitions to get your pro card are big venues. This isn't just a local, not that local is chopped liver or anything.
Sure. I mean, it's the best of the best, and it was a complete honor. I feel like it was almost effortless, but I forget that there was so much hard work behind all of that, and so many different versions of me along the way.
Really? Preparing for the competition.
Explain
that.
Well, so from when I hadn't competed for over 3 years, from that first to the second to the third competition, gosh, finding myself, really learning to love myself along the way. And from the 3-year break, from the first to the second before becoming pro, it was hard, but also enjoyable, and such like an evolution, an evolvement of really becoming a pro. So I felt like I was a pro before I was a pro.
But when you were on that stage, you owned the stage.
Yeah, for sure.
That
But at
was
the same
awesome.
time, I didn't have any expectations. I just wanted to show up as
Right.
my best. And because it was my best, that's what brought me there. That was the only goal, was to show up as my best.
That was one of the things that always really impressed me is I think I was stressing for you more than you were stressing. I bring up concerns and you're like, oh, I'm just going to do this.
I know. Yes. Amongst two, we don't talk about everything
No.
that happens behind doors to get
Absolutely.
there. And that's why I said it was almost effortless, because if it wasn't supposed to happen, I feel like the things that were happening, with family and just life,
Right.
it wouldn't have led me there. And so when I got on the plane, I was like, this is mine.
Now, the end result
Yeah.
you described as effortless, and yet
Yes.
I don't know if I have seen anyone more teachable than you. You've had a lot of coaches along the way. You've had a lot
Yeah.
of teaching along the way.
Yes.
Is there anybody of all of those people that have supported you and trained you and helped you in this process that you want to?
It was really each coach. I mean, it was two different ones.
Right.
I believe before I switched to Shane,
Right.
I was with my previous coach prepping from like September to, I don't know, December. And then my hormones changing and being like, okay, I got to take a break for a second.
Right.
And then reevaluating and then switching to someone local. Gosh, the bbe coach, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like the best coach,
Right.
but more, it wouldn't be, it was more mental.
Yeah.
It was more like me going and meditating and being like, I surrender,
Right.
and pushing myself harder. I would say I was my best coach.
Right.
Because I would just go in and not like put it out on anybody else.
Right.
And just sit with it.
That makes perfect sense, because I really do feel like, especially when I would voice a concern to you,
Yeah.
you knew exactly what you were going to do. But honestly, that adds a whole nother level to what you're doing, because the body always wants homeostasis. It wants to be grounded.
It does.
And you're doing some pretty extreme sculpting.
Yeah.
And
That's so
so
true.
The hormones alone, there's a massive amount of psychological involvement in,
There is.
never mind the fact that it's painful
Right.
to sculpt your body
Right.
the way that you have physically.
And I forget that because I guess you get used to it when
You've
you do
done
it
it
every
for so
single
long.
day.
Yeah.
That you're just used to it. But the mental,
Right.
that's the hardest part.
That's what I'd like to dig into a little bit, because
Sure.
anybody wanting to follow you down this path, are there warnings or are there tidbits that you'd be willing to share with them to help them
Sure.
overcome these huge obstacles? Because I've seen a lot of people that I thought were phenomenal, and along the way, these things derailed them, or
Right.
the fluctuation back and forth didn't allow them to do it for the years and years and years that was necessary
Right.
to become a pro.
Right. No, all of those are very good concerns, and they're normal when you are in this industry.
Right.
I remember when switching to Shane and then showing up for posing close to my first show with him, and he said, "This is an extreme sport."
Yeah, absolutely.
So people don't recognize that, yeah, you're going to be doing extreme things because it's the best of the best.
Right.
You don't do them forever.
Right.
Right. But bringing it back, what was the question again?
So if if you have someone who's just looking to get into this,
Yes.
what advice would you give them?
Well, first I would say, do it. Don't be scared, because all we have is here and now. And I was telling a friend yesterday, because she was inspired by watching Corbin's competition a few weeks ago. And she's like, what advice would you give me? Because I'm so scared. And I said, you know what? This was a bucket list thing for me. It was just once before I was 40.
Right.
And I made the goal when I was 35. And I believe I was 38 the first time.
Right.
And then 41. And then got my pro card at 41.
Right.
So there was that time in between. But from my first competition to my second, I believe there were relationships that happened that hadn't gone, me growing as a person, but then understanding that when I kept putting everybody else first before myself, that's when I lost myself.
Right.
So if you even have a spark, like maybe I could do that, you totally can. Like, get out of your head. You can do it, because I honestly, ask me this 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I would have never thought, but I always wanted it.
Right. It made me think of an experiment.
Yeah.
A psychological experiment where people are asked, who do you love?
Oh,
And it takes them a long time to get to themselves.
yes.
We don't feel worthy to say that we love ourselves. And yet all of our
Yes.
relationships are based on how we love ourselves. If we don't love ourselves,
Absolutely.
other people are not going to love us.
Absolutely.
And so that's hard. One more thing that you make sound easy.
I know.
But that's
Yes.
work in itself.
Yes. So prepping for my first show, I believe that's when I started to learn how to love myself. But understanding what self-worth was, it wasn't until I got my pro card
Wow.
where I really can say, I actually really do love myself, because I started putting my creativeness first. Of course, you still want to take care of your loved ones and everything,
absolutely.
but not putting your goals and your aspirations or your passions and being like, well, once this, then I'll do that.
Right, right.
And I actually had someone reach out to me on Instagram, and she said, oh my gosh, when I grow up, I want to be you. Because in one day, I had gone to the gym, trained legs, and I went to pool for, aerial pool. And then I went to kickboxing and then breakdancing, all in one day.
Yeah.
And she's like, holy cow, how did you do that all? Plus I'm a mom, right?
Right.
And I said, you know what? All we have is here and now. And I had the time. And
So you did it.
I did it. But I will tell you, the next few days kicked my butt.
You paid for it.
Yeah, and we went to Olympia, and I couldn't walk because I kicked my own butt.
Right.
I was like, dang it, I did too much. But at the same time, all we have is here and now. And if I kept putting things to the side, waiting for them to happen, which I did, and I will say this in my previous life of Toni Rose, because
Right.
I'm not that person anymore, it was always putting everyone first.
Right.
And then, okay, once, my spouse at the time, once you're done with school, then we'll take care of me.
Right.
When I should have still been taking care of myself. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? So it wasn't until learning more about myself where I was like, no, I gotta do this for me.
Yeah.
And so anyway, yeah.
So what is different about Toni Rose IFBB Pro? What has that process been like? Are you a different
Yeah.
person?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes, but not because of the title.
Okay.
Not because of the title. The title is amazing. It does show hard work,
Absolutely.
but honestly, what is different is that now I just want to inspire more people to be themselves. That's it. Be yourself. Don't be me. Don't be Wonder Woman, who I always wanted to be when I was younger. I mean, definitely have aspirations and people you look up to, but create yourself.
Right.
To be yourself.
Have you arrived at a point where you're more than Wonder Woman? Or will Wonder Woman always be this unachievable goal?
Oh, I surpassed Wonder Woman.
Yes, that's what I wanted to hear. That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
But I do love everything that she has to stand for, because it was love and unity and peace and justice, and compassion. So I believe those are all great things. And then she looked great, right?
Right.
So, and gray hair.
Right.
But most definitely, definitely become your own hero. This is your life. This is your creation. You're the main character. And everyone else, gets to be a part of your creation.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And you're a part of my creation, and I'm a part of your creation, which is so cool.
I don't know that I'm a part of your
you
creation.
You totally are. Oh, so many beautiful things come from your heart. You're the heart of this.
Well, to be honest, I owe a lot of this to you, because this is a knuckle dragger company, and you believed in this early on, and you came right on board and supported us 100%. And
I love muscle, do, but you are bringing the energy. You're the energy
You're
producer.
Bringing the energy.
No, we're just helping to spread your light.
Wow, that's
what it is.
We're gonna have to stop filming.
No, for sure. Again, incredible product, right?
Right.
But you believed in it.
Yeah.
You created it. We are all a part of you.
The funny thing is, because I didn't do this to make a company out of it.
Yeah.
You don't know how much it means every time someone likes it. Even to this day, I'll be on social media and someone will say, "This is great," and it's like, my day's been made.
Oh my gosh, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
So
it just like, you're like, yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Make some more products.
Oh, I know. It just keeps getting more magical.
Yeah.
Everything behind it.
So one of the things that has always amazed me about you is I have never seen you have a bad day. I've never seen you have a bad day. I know that if I see Toni in the gym, I'm going to get a hug and I'm going to be happy.
Oh.
But you have a lot on your plate.
There is.
And I don't see any break in that. Like every single day, your day is full.
It can seem like that. I do believe I work hard all the time.
Right.
However, I still do find time to enjoy my own passions, even being a mom and everything like that. But no, I do. There are times that are happier than others.
Right.
And I just go into nature. Yeah. I'm not one to really like pick an argument with somebody.
No.
Because I truly believe there really is no right and no wrong. We all just have different opinions. Mm-hmm. We're both seeing whatever is happening through our own lens of awareness.
Right.
And so I just take a step back and I'm like, okay, well, that didn't really go the way that I had intended. However, what can I learn from this? What does this mean? How can I grow and move forward? I really just want everybody to be happy. Can't we just all be happy? Right. Yeah. But honestly though, if I and not necessarily having the best day. Semi-routine, like I'll journal, I'll go probably plunge. It's like stuff I already do almost every day, you know?
Yeah.
Like clear the energy. Sometimes I'll call up a friend and just be like, hey, can I bring you a coffee?
That's cool.
You know, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I know you're busy, but I just need to see you. I need to bring you something. I don't know.
And you have a great support system.
I
very
totally
consistent
do.
support system.
And that's the other thing too. So yeah, I have all my passions and I have, you know, I'm a single mom. I have my 2 kids.
Right.
But I do have a great community behind me.
Yeah, you do.
My family, they're incredible. I couldn't ask for a better family. Even my kids, they've learned to adapt and become a little bit more independent. And it works for us.
Yeah.
Things aren't always happy. And as they age, we're learning how to set boundaries and put rules in. Because I'm just so like, yeah, do whatever, you know?
Right.
But really, we need those things to keep us in line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't expect that from you, because the things that you're involved in all require a lot of discipline.
They do.
And so to be able to do them lightheartedly is a gift. It's an absolute gift.
Kind of flow.
Yes.
I call it the flow of the energy of the day.
Yeah.
Like if it's fighting me too much, then I'm not supposed to do it.
Huh.
But if it's effortless,
Right.
and I always just say for the highest good of all, then that's what I'm supposed to do. And that's what I'll do.
That's awesome.
But always there's a little bit of a schedule, right? Like
Yeah.
I do work still,
Yeah.
have my studio, and
You have an incredible schedule.
I have the best schedule, actually.
So
I really do.
What does IFBB Pro Toni Rose's schedule look like on a Wednesday?
On a Wednesday, well, I will be honest, after getting my Pro card, I have eaten everything.
That's good. That's
that
what I want to hear.
Wanted to eat.
Right.
I have actually not worked out as much, but it's only since coming back from Olympia, which is only on Monday,
Right.
where I was like, okay, I'm re-inspired.
So you've had one day off after the Olympia.
Yeah, but you know, I had like a month to enjoy all the things. Not that I don't ever enjoy the things, but
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, I actually appreciate my body when I am more disciplined.
Right.
And I don't feel like crap because I ate 6 cupcakes.
Which is super smart, because
But I did do that.
yeah, but I did do that.
Yes.
You have to, honestly,
yes.
to stay sane, you have to.
Right. But I actually enjoy the healthier things.
So before we get too far past the Olympia,
Sure.
I grew up idolizing the golden age of bodybuilding. And so I can't even fathom going to an Olympia. I haven't been to an Olympia.
Oh my gosh.
What was it like at the Olympia? What was not just the competitions, but it's a gigantic
It
venue.
is. Oh, I love the energy. Love it. And it has been a while since I'd gone to an Olympia.
Right.
Since 2018.
Oh,
I worked
yeah.
my first show in like a skincare booth at the Olympia. And this time coming back, you know, now I'm a pro.
Right.
So I had more confidence, but also to observe everybody else, I feel like the energy was just like ecstatic. Everyone.
You were among peers.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What was
everyone.
it like when Corbin would say, "This is Toni Rose, IFBB Pro"?
I get kind of shy.
Right.
You know, like I get kind of shy. You think because you're on a stage and you look like that, you have all this confidence, which I do.
Right.
But then when you put me on the spot, I'm kind of like, oh, like, yeah, you know, don't look at me, you know. But it's kind of, at the same time, I'm proud.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. How can you not be?
Yeah.
This is a world-class accomplishment.
This
isn't, I mean, we think that it's just this
It is.
little community that we're all
Right.
involved in, but that was world-class.
You are absolutely right. And everything more beautiful in my life has actually come from fitness. all my connections, all my friends, my health, like, and my confidence. And so seeing Olympians compete, and these are like top-notch performers.
Absolutely.
It's just so inspiring. And then everyone just loves it.
After going through the process that you did to become a pro, did you see the Olympia and the competitors differently
I did.
than back in 2018? What was the
did.
difference?
I appreciate them so much more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it is hard work
It's-
and dedication.
I had always, when I followed it in the past,
Yeah.
I didn't understand why early in the day there were certain winners. It wasn't the end of the competition. Later in the day, it would change within one day.
Yeah.
And then I realized, holy cow, like you work for years to get to this point, to get on the stage,
Right.
and hours can make a difference.
Oh, it really can. It really can.
So how do you handle that? Like, is that a panic at all that do you have to time things to be able to be your best when you're in the spotlight?
I do believe you learn with each show. And the first show, I mean, who doesn't want the overall?
Right.
Right.
But it's your first show.
Right.
Yeah.
But then like learning, okay, where you need to improve.
Right.
But then you just do it.
How did you handle after the show?
Oh, after
the very
show.
first show.
The first show. Oh, with the critique.
Yeah.
So I qualified
Right.
for masters, but thinking that I was going to do a little bit better with like the overall placing.
Right.
I was like, okay, I took the feedback. I was still a little too thick, and I carry it in my legs, even though I know I looked great.
Thick can never be applied to
I
Toni
know,
Rose. I've never thought of you.
But you know, when you're competing against everyone else who's trying really hard,
Right.
and then there's a look that they're going for,
Right.
I needed to lean up more. And that does get in your head a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, gosh, am I good enough? I don't know, just to make it on this pro stage. But everyone's saying, you look great,
Right.
but you don't see it because you get in your head. I actually worked out less because I needed to shrink.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know it sounds weird. I worked out less because I think I was overworking out.
Right.
So the muscle was still too big.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I like in my head said, no, do what you got to do. Body, just do what you got to do. So I believe I slept more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I slept more.
I was going to ask you about sleep because with your schedule as booked as it is, I don't know how
Right.
you put sleep in it. Are you an 8-hour a night sleeper?
I'm 4 to 5 hours.
4 or
And
5.
my body just wakes up. But I take naps.
That's good.
But if I'm sitting on a passenger side,
You're asleep.
I'm sleeping.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Any chance I get, just because it's like rocking me to sleep.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I'm 4, 5
You need
hours.
to take more road trips.
I know.
Yeah.
Trust me, I slept the whole way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have to remember that we have people who are watching who have not even started this process.
Sure.
And so they may not understand all the terms that we're referring to. I understand what it means to be a professional bodybuilder, the best in the world. But can you explain to people what it means to
Yeah.
get your pro card?
Sure. So I competed in bikini.
Right,
And I got my pro card as Masters Bikini.
right,
And so again, competing against the best in the nation
and the biggest class.
in the biggest class, correct.
Right,
Bikini. So what they're looking for is the hourglass figure.
right,
Tiny waist, nice broad shoulders, glutes and tie-ins. Don't over your quads and your hammies don't overpower anything, but everything is just very symmetrical.
symmetrical. Yeah,
And so when you compete and ideally everyone wants to become a pro,
right,
right? So it's just like if you were going to be a professional basketball player or a professional football player. So this is a professional bodybuilder
Sculptor.
in bikini.
Right.
And so now as a pro, I get to compete against other professionals
Right.
on a pro level. And that can be national, then international. And I mean, who doesn't want to become an Olympian?
Right.
You know, Olympian of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And they are the best of the best.
And especially right now, I mentioned the golden age of bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is extremely advanced
It is
at this point from the time. I mean, I remember my idols. I look back at them now and they probably wouldn't have even made the stage, to be honest, because there was a lot more emphasis on, like maybe a lot less emphasis on definition.
Oh, right.
Which requires mature muscle.
Oh, it definitely does.
You know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why I feel like the hardest class to get into is the master's class, because
Right.
that's where all the maturity and the precision, the
Right.
chiseled physiques are.
And it's incredible. As we mature, the muscle looks better.
Yeah.
And then to see like 40, 50, 60-year-olds, you know, close to 70-year-olds still competing, and they look incredible.
I remember probably about around the first time that we met, there was a bodybuilder in the gym, and he was in his 70s. And I had to go apologize to him. And I said, I'm really sorry. I don't mean to stare at you, but like, I'm not kidding. You could compete. He's like, I know, I do.
Oh.
But literally in his 70s.
Right.
And I would have traded him physiques in a heartbeat, because he was shockingly incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's inspiring.
Yeah.
Because I honestly feel like I look better now than I did when I was in my 20s.
Right.
2 kids later.
Yeah.
You know? But also mentality's different. Your appreciation for even food is different. What you put in your body, you know, everything.
I think along the way, you may not recognize this, but you have become an expert in so many aspects of what's required to sculpt the human form. You've become the creator of this beautiful form.
You really do. And it's incredible. Like our vessels, we are so blessed. You tell your body to do something, it will do it.
Yeah.
You know?
I use it it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Personally, like I always joke around. I had a teacher in school who was drawn upon to go to more prestigious schools. And he said, I can't move away from the beach. Surfing is my Prozac. Well, bodybuilding is my Prozac. Bodybuilding is the thing that helps me stay at peace.
Yeah.
Right? And yet, what I didn't realize until my recent battle with cancer, when my surgeon was looking at my results, and she is telling me I've got cancer. It's a 6-pound tumor. It's gone throughout my body. It's been growing for 8 years.
Yeah.
So then she starts measuring other things. First of all, you're dealing with what just dropped in your lap. But when she started measuring some obscure muscles in my back, I said, do I have it in my back? And she said, no.
No way.
We measure this muscle to determine what your survival rate is.
Really?
And she said, you're going to be just fine.
Wow.
But I'd never thought about that before. I'd never thought about how they literally decide whether you're going to succeed in this battle or not based on muscle.
Interesting.
And I've paid more attention as I've seen studies that have pointed out the fact that we're going to face hardships in life.
Right.
We know that as we age, there's all kinds of factors that start coming into play. But this healthy fascination that we have is making sure that age isn't a number. It's a quality of life.
Right.
And so that was kind of shocking to me. Like I never correlated the two at all, but
right. I agree 100%.
You're paving the way for your future self.
Right.
To be happy, to continue this wonderful process.
So many different things, from producing muscle when you're in the gym because you stimulate your own dopamine. So your own happy serotonin.
Yeah.
You know, even though I only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but it helps to regulate everything in your hormones when you can produce muscle and move your body like that. So yeah, I agree.
Women, hormones are a big part of being a woman.
Right.
And I don't know if men fully appreciate the balancing act that is hormones. And I can't think of anything that would impact the hormones more than this aggressive dieting, aggressive fitness. How do you balance that out? Do you feel like you're in touch with yourself enough that you can adapt? Like you said, like you stopped working out as intensely to make your muscles shrink.
I know, right?
What do you do for the hormonal changes that occur in this process?
Well, I take your vitamins.
Okay.
Definitely take your vitamins. A big part of it is having a healthy liver. So finding supplements that work for you.
Okay.
I prefer the more natural,
Right.
if possible.
Yeah.
So sources from natural ingredients is the way I prefer to go.
Right.
The other part is mental too.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of meditation, telling myself what I want to create and how to create it in my mind. So you visualize it.
Right.
And yeah, but your hormones definitely, there are some days where you want to eat more carbs because naturally your body is going through that. And that's what you want to do.
It needs those to create those a lot of times.
It does.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd eat a little bit more. I'm not going to lie.
That's
because I need to listen to my body.
I think that's what people want to hear on this podcast, because a lot of people think of this as just extremes and deprivation.
Right.
And, but I love the fact that it's a healthy balance. I love the fact that mentally you've allowed yourself. It scares me a little bit when female competitors start to look at food as being evil.
I know.
Because the reality is, I tell people, like, food is emotional. It's family. It's so many more things than just nourishment. Like you really don't have as full of a life if you relegate food to simply being
just energy.
Managed building blocks.
Yeah.
Energy. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
No, I agree. I love food. Trust me. So when you are close to stepping on stage, you almost find you become very creative. You're like, oh, I'm going to eat this rice cake and I'm going to put a little bit more of this sugar-free whatever on it because it's going to taste good. And a cucumber, which you never really would put on there because it's sweet and then the cucumber has no taste.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But you just but you want to eat that crunch. Sometimes it's auditory
Oh,
too.
wow.
And it's not even just like smell. It's just like that.
Uh-huh.
That's what you start to miss.
Wow.
That's what you go through sometimes.
Right.
And I remember being like, oh, when I'm done, I'm going to reverse diet because I didn't do that the first time. And so I gained weight really fast.
Right.
It kind of messes with your head. It does.
Right.
It does as a female when you're used to looking so lean, right?
Right.
But this time, because I took so long in my prep, I had a year.
Right.
Where first I was trying to do it in 4 months and then 6, and things just kept happening. And I said, I'm not even going to talk about my competition anymore. I'm just going to, the week before, say I'm competing when I'm ready because I'm done talking about it.
Right.
I just want to show up, But the food, whatever definition you give it, I believe that's how you're going to feel when you eat it.
Yeah.
So even if I was eating a little bit more, I would tell myself, no, I'm grateful for right here and right now. I deserve this.
That's awesome.
You know, and I'd be like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to just do like 100 more steps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'll balance it out, but
it's
now,
so psychological.
It is. It is. Now I'm enjoying all the things and I'm just saying, thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's,
but scaling back a little bit now.
I think, for those who want to try this path, because this is a difficult path that most people don't make it to.
Take your time.
I love your example. I absolutely love your example because I love, most people don't understand that we've got to do this with our body. We can't fight our body to that point. We got to work with the body because the body's always going to be trying to balance what we're doing.
Right.
And so I love the fact that what's coming across to me is the mental balance. It's a mind-body process and not just a physical process to get to the level of being a pro.
For sure.
And that's such a good example because I think there are some who get into it just for the physical goal.
Right.
And they think that they can neglect the mental work that's required. But I think it's so much more healthy. You're a phenomenal example.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you for believing in me and thinking I'm cool.
You are incredibly cool. And the reason that I believe in you is because you so strongly believe in yourself. I love your courage. I love your undying faith in the process. It was so shocking when I would just ask you something. I would mention a concern along the way.
Right.
And you just answer it. You had the solution. It's not a concern.
Yeah.
And so...
but maybe it was sometimes, but I'm like, it's going to work out.
But coming across to those of us who are not at that level of discipline and not at that level of accomplishment, you're such a good example. And so we love you. We absolutely appreciate you representing us because you put a really good face on our brand.
Joe. I am completely 100% honored to represent such a great company with a good heart and a fabulous product.
So for those who aren't really familiar with the bodybuilding world, sometimes you can go to these competitions and you see extremes. And we're not just talking about physical extremes. But I want to know what makes Toni Rose tick because there's no extremes. Like literally you could fit in anywhere where you're plugged. You're not, I shouldn't say no extremes. Like your body is an extreme. The package that you bring to the table to become the best in the world, to become professional is extreme for 99% of the planet. But that being said, it's not ego and it's not body dysmorphia. It's this incredible balance because one of the things I noticed, I know I'm not 5% body fat now, but one of the things I noticed when I got down to 5% body fat is I felt like a priest because I couldn't be alone with people without them confessing their food sins. I could do that too, but I love Twinkies. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
And so it's an incredible balancing act because
you're right.
You know, everybody is like, oh my gosh, you are a goddess. So how does that not tip this wonderful, beautiful inside and outside Toni into your ego?
Sure. You know, that is actually a very good question. My definition of ego is different than I would say the normal population of what ego is.
Okay.
So outside world, ego is like, oh, you know, she's so tough because she has these muscles, which I get what you're saying because I showed up to a family gathering and, right after my show, and they're like, whoa, I bet you can beat everybody up in here. You know what I mean? And I'm like, actually, I'm a lover, not a fire.
Compliment.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you must just work out all day. And I'm like, actually, I don't. But this, like, if you knew what it took to get there, you would understand. But really, my ego, my own self-definition of ego is actually to stop talking down to myself.
Right.
Like I'm not worthy enough.
Right.
So me putting ego aside is more like that versus like me walking around like I own everything and everyone should bow down or anything like that. So it's actually more self-worth. When I think of ego, it's dropping my ego so that I can be the best me. And when I'm the best me, I love life more.
I didn't think about that, but anytime you start excelling and exceeding everybody around you, there are critics.
There are, yeah.
And it would be hard. It would be hard to be the best and hear the derogatory comments, or maybe you don't hear them. Maybe it's stuff that's said behind you.
Right. Sometimes, and sometimes it comes from the closest people.
Right.
But honestly, I know that they're dealing with their own things.
Right.
I don't take anything personal.
Well, absolutely. That's what I think too, is a lot of times it's a mirror.
But I do see that, though, how people think it's very egotistical. But, I mean, come on. Look who just won the Olympian.
Yeah.
It's Sebum. And look how humble he is.
Yeah.
And
he's been an excellent example of humility.
Exactly. And so really, the best of the best are actually all extremely humble.
Yeah.
Because they know what it takes to get there. They see the sacrifice. They have more compassion for anyone else who's also going through it.
Absolutely.
And yes, I get it. Like, that is the sport. It is bodybuilding. So that's what we focus on.
Right.
So if it was football, that's what we would focus on.
Right.
And that would be you would breathe, eat, sleep, dream, everything.
Right.
So that's what you do as a bodybuilder.
Right.
So I get the whole ego thing, but really there's so much that goes behind it.
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
discipline in your food. It is your sleep and your cardio and your muscle groups and
balancing family.
Exactly.
Community.
And you still got to work and be a performer, not a performer, but connect with people and be a human.
Yeah.
Make a difference. I mean, if you want.
Who doesn't want?
Of course.
Yeah.
And then
awesome.
try to smile and do it all.
Right?
No, but really, though, the smile is real.
Absolutely.
At least here, it's real.
Everywhere I've ever seen you, it's real. That's what I'm saying is you're beautiful inside and out. I want everybody to meet you because you're too good to be true. And then they meet you and they're like, oh my gosh.
No, I feel like you are reflecting me. I think you're amazing. I get to be around amazing people. I know you stop. I know you can't take it, but guess what, Joe? You are.
But honestly, you are teaching me a lot. You are, because I'm realizing that I'm not there yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
To receive is harder.
Yeah.
It is. It's been to take compliments.
Yes.
I mean, you would think, you look at my Instagram and, oh, she's so confident, everything. But really, though, I'm actually now just learning how to take the compliments. I really don't get any negativity. I don't.
Oh, really? That's good.
I do not.
That's good.
And surprisingly, some people say, wow, you people must say things, but I don't.
That's good.
If anyone does, I just don't reply. It doesn't matter, you know? And I'm not trying to get 1 million likes and grow my social media as big as it can, because I feel like whatever message I am putting out there, it will get to who it needs to get to.
Yeah.
Naturally on its own. Well, you've gotten to be around so many people.
Right.
Maybe one thing you wish you would have done a little bit sooner along the process of this journey?
That's a really good question. I feel like even the really hard things that have happened in my life, it's just so weird. You don't regret them after you come through them.
Right.
Once you come through them, the growth that you went through and the understanding and the appreciation and the compassion, I think it's really hard. Well, maybe, I don't know if it's really hard. I feel like really compassionate people are compassionate because they don't want other people to feel anything other than compassion. They have experienced pain and they don't want anybody else to experience pain.
Right.
So I've learned that I really wouldn't change anything. I mean, there are some horrific experiences in life. I don't think life was designed to be, it wasn't designed to be easy. And so we all kind of learn how to go through this process and make a life for ourselves.
We do.
And I feel incredibly blessed that I found the path that I found and I found the people that I found. So I wouldn't change anything.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So I heard some things in the works, like there could be some new supplements coming out, which I'm super excited for. Which ones are you excited for?
What I'm really excited for right now is I feel like something that the supplement world hasn't really addressed. We have proven that you can take the best of the best, and there is no such thing as too much, right? If you make the perfect product, it's going to work, right?
Right.
One of the things that over the years, many people have said, when are you going to make a protein product? And I've kind of pushed it away because there's so much out there, right? But one of the things that I'm learning from professionals is with this cutting edge process, there's some really exciting stuff on the horizon.
Okay.
And we'll share some of it on the Toni Rose show.
Okay.
So most people recognize that if you're taking in protein that's not from a whole food source, it's not perfect.
Sure.
It's not ideal. And so your body can have a hard time dealing with it as opposed to it not having those issues with whole natural source proteins, right?
Gotcha.
But that being said, in the same way that we are able to help our bodies out, I think colostrum is the new exciting thing. I really do. And I think that's what we're looking for as that puzzle piece to have a protein source that may not necessarily be whole protein.
Sure.
But on the other hand, we can enhance the protein that we're taking in by creating the perfect form of protein that's used for the most fragile life forms, the very first food that we have outside of our mothers.
Right, colostrum.
And so we've started testing them out, and I'm really lucky to have these incredible, high-end, professional, world-class athletes who surround me.
Yes.
And so
that's amazing. I love that. I love that you want to formulate that, because in the skincare world, that's also a profession of mine. Colostrum is very healing to the skin.
Really?
Produced from bovine cows. So when put in a product, I mean, obviously, if you can ingest it, even better. Right. Because I was only doing it topically.
Right.
So that's incredible. I cannot wait.
So you bring up a really interesting thing. While I was trying to patent Grow Muscle, through the process, you have to make sure that there's nothing that's already there that you would be conflicting with. It's called prior art, right?
I see.
And I was shocked. The majority of the products that I had to go through and look at their ingredients were cosmetic.
Oh.
Because vitamin B3, niacin, NAD
Yeah.
is huge in the skincare industry.
Right.
Like the majority of the products have those in them.
They
And
do have
I never
niacin.
thought about
yeah,
that.
that's my first understanding of niacin.
Yeah. And so it's interesting. I think that's how fine-tuned these products are. Right. Not only are we making them to enhance the process or the outcome, but to be able to have an effect on the skin.
Right. The longevity.
That's kind of the leaves of the tree.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the additive benefits.
Yeah. So we have other things that we're working on, but right now that's sort of the passion. That's sort of the rabbit hole that we're going down, as long as I have these phenomenal peers to be able to test this stuff out and give me feedback, who know their bodies better than anyone on the planet. I've always told people, like, if you're even considering dieting, if you were to look to one class of people that is successful all the time, it's the bodybuilding industry.
Right.
Like, you don't have to go into these fad diets.
Right.
They successfully do this over and over and over. And so it's biohacking.
Yeah. You learn what bloats the body, what doesn't, what to take, how to cut water really fast. And so as soon as you put something that you're in your body that it's not used to, you have a very quick, rapid response.
And you can interpret the feedback.
Right.
A lot of people are not as in tune with their bodies like that to understand this came because of this.
For sure.
Yeah.
You should have seen me over Olympia, because I hadn't had that much bread in a long time.
Right.
We had Detroit deep dish pizza and a margarita pizza and a cheese board with bread. I ate it all, but I swelled because I'm not used to it. And then my sister texted me, by the way, I brought home some gourmet donuts. And I ate those too. Yeah. And then I came back on Monday and I said, I'm done.
You knew exactly what was causing what and
exactly,
what.
Because I was like, wow. I always have veins even on my feet.
Show this for a second. That is so beautiful.
Just naturally. And this is me, like, probably 15 pounds heavier right now, because I've been eating everything.
Right. There's no way that's 15 pounds heavier.
Okay, maybe like 10.
Maybe 5.
10.
Okay.
Yeah. But I always see the veins on my feet.
Right.
I could not see the veins on my feet after I ate all that food.
Oh, obviously that was temporary.
Right. Thank goodness. Because then I went and sat in the sauna and I sweated it all out.
Right.
But you learn so fast what affects your body. I'm like, I'm not eating that much bread ever again. Deep dish with cheese and all of the meat.
You are the perfect research subject. I'm excited.
For sure.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.